I've been curtailing the nauseous effects of life in this modern world and turning a blind eye towards the creeping horrors surrounding us all by playing Destiny for about 10 years now. I'll get back to the topic mentioned in the title of this video shortly, but for now I kinda need to just talk about the past decade a little bit. 10 years ago is a long time. When I started playing Destiny, I was still early in my college degree. PlayStation 3 was still a viable choice for a gaming platform.
$599 US.
And most importantly, I wasn't playing Destiny with the intent that I would still be chugging away at its endless grind almost a decade later. I played Destiny because I was a big fan of the original Halo trilogy and thus Bungie kind of by association. I still recall seeing that awesome concept art Bungie released years before the game launched in an old gaming magazine. Oh my god, I miss those magazines so much. And just being super hyped for what was coming. This was unfortunately quickly swapped with a feeling of disappointment when I read that the game would require a stable internet connection because, at the time, I was still living with my parents in rural Western Ireland and relied on a lovely dial-up connection to reach the outside world. That era was a little frustrating, but also kind of iconic in my opinion, because the experience of feeling rage when my grandmother would call my house phone, remember those? And disrupt my online game of Age of Empires 3 because for some reason the phone and internet couldn't coexist, or when I would fist bump the air after seeing my LimeWire download speed bump up to a whopping 7 kilobytes per second. Those were truly things you can't understand or can't explain to someone who just wasn't there. It was certainly a time. Anyway, back to Destiny. Thankfully the games industry moved rather slow back then, or at least it felt like it did, and by the time Destiny released I was a college boy with a nice broadband connection to boot. Being the hardcore gamer that I am, of course I played the Destiny 1 alpha, of course I did. However, I didn't actually like it. I remember coming away feeling a bit confused about that. I knew the game was well made. It looked beautiful, the gunplay was amazing, but something just wasn't grabbing me like the Halo franchise did. For example, I distinctly remember bombing around the Cosmodrome on my Sparrow with a buddy and he picked up a patrol mission. We very quickly finished the patrol mission and his response to our victory was, and I quote, "Is that it?" And this feeling sticks with us for most of the alpha experience really. The only things that I remember standing out were the beautiful visuals on the Moon PvP map in particular, remember that? And the strike mission being pretty fun.
Hey, you're finally awake.
But the sentiment, it was so strong that when the beta rolled around, I didn't even bother signing up. Fortunately for me, I guess this was when my friend group got hooked and my fate with Destiny was sealed. Flash forward to Christmas 2014 and all my friends are raving about their vault conquests and complaining about something called a light level. The FOMO slowly beat me down to a nub until I decided to pick up the game around New Year's. It was actually already on sale by then, and once I played the game with some buds, beat the raid for the first time, went on to get spammed with invites after flexing some glow-hoo in the tower. You know who you are.
Everybody's glowing, what the fuck? It seems weird. Yeah, it looks different, the thing glows. Like it.
That was it. I was a guardian. Fate sealed. If you've clicked on this video and you haven't already tuned out, you're probably wondering why the hell I'm giving you a history of my time in Destiny. I mean, aside from it being a fun experience on my behalf, I need to explain how I got to where I am with Destiny 2 today. The excitement of a new genre of game for me in the looter shooter, Bungie's next adventure and the addiction of playing super rewarding activities with friends was a bonfire that has slowly burned down to a cheap fairy light floating in the bath today, as my friends slowly left the game for other pastures, as the content delivery for Destiny steadily shifted from in-game rewards to microtransaction and virtual currency focused cosmetics.
So then I opened the crate. Needless to say, I sent the whole shipment back to Fenchurch.
And probably most importantly to this video, as the game enters its 10th year, I'm just not as invested in this as I once was. To be honest, I was most prompted to make a video about this because of the sentiment floating around the Destiny community and YouTube lately. You know what I'm talking about. It's safe to say things are not going so great for Destiny and Bungie right now. But I'm really not here to talk about the issues, the controversies, or the drama. They're all very searchable right now, and the YouTube algorithm is surely violently sending them in your direction either way. I'm here to say that I'm losing interest in Destiny. I am not losing interest in Destiny because of server stability, even though that's very annoying. I am not losing interest in Destiny because of the prominence of the Eververse store in-game. I am not losing interest in Destiny because of the worst state of the game article the franchise history has just published. I am losing interest in Destiny 2 because I've been playing it for 6 or 7 years. 10 years if you include Destiny 1.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa!
That's too damn bad!
For these years, I have collected relatively the same types of gear, played similar types of combat, and trudged through the same drip-fed story. Prior to Destiny, something like this was just not an experience I was familiar with. I would even go as far to say that if all of those above mentioned issues were fixed and the game was being positively received by players in all sectors, I still believe I would be making this exact same video right now. I used to play a lot of shooters back in the day. I loved Battlefield, and I would buy each new yearly or bi-yearly iteration. I would play the game for a month or two at launch, purchase a season pass, maybe jump back in for a few more weeks in the year, and then I would move on. Maybe to another shooter, maybe to another more story-focused game, or maybe something completely new. The point is, my gaming habit had a cycle, and it worked. I kept things fresh with new games or franchises and moved on, once things started to get a little stale. Destiny changed all of this. I specifically recall thinking to myself when Bungie announced the new seasonal model, I think after Shadowkeep, I remember thinking, awesome, I'm going to have Destiny 2 stuff to do every week now, forever, yeah! While there is, an inherent value in a product that continually delivers material for you to consume like this, I, as of today, don't understand why I ever wanted that. After a 6-month bout of unemployment during the COVID-era lockdown, which is actually when I started this channel ironically, I burned myself into the ground with Destiny 2 when I played Beyond Light to the absolute death. For the most of the remainder of that year after its release, I could not stand another moment in orbit in the game. I had to get out. I decided it was time to install something new, challenge my taste a little bit, and in that year I played some of the games that would go on to become my all-time favourites. Disco Elysium, Outer Wilds, Hunt Showdown, The Witcher 3. I loved them all. I was so happy just to experience something different, something fresh, and I eventually would return to Destiny, but if I'm being honest, I returned to it, a changed man. I started playing the expansions just like I played games back in the day. I'd grind for a month, maybe more, let it gradually reduce as the season starts to dry up, and I would return for the new season. I would grind a little, I would
suckle on Bungie's trickle-fed bird feeder of story and
just peace out. And to be honest, it feels real good. I stopped grinding power levels, I stopped grinding red borders, caring about 5 out of 5 god roll weapons of every bloody weapon in the game, and I just stopped caring about FOMO. That's what YouTube's for, right? Destiny 2 is still a really great game, but it has great flaws, and like you have cleverly spotted in my title, it reminds me a lot of the first era of Marvel films. I grinded the cinema for those films. I watched dozens of hours of CGI, patiently waited for a 15-second post-credit scene, which I could just watch online anyway, and took part in all the speculation and community discussion surrounding the films. However, once the climatic finale with Thanos occurred, which was awesome by the way, I quickly felt my interest fade. I had seen the Avengers grow and team up and defeat the most powerful being in the universe. Why do I care that Tom Holland's going to Venice to fight Jake Gyllenhaal 2 months later? The similarities with Destiny's ever-growing "I am the strongest villain of them all" antagonists that is going to reach climax with the Witness showdown, of course, could not be more similar to that in my opinion. If we beat the Witness, which we will, come on, I just don't want to go back to grinding seasonal weapons in a 6-man activity where I need to throw balls at a generator again. This book-ended feeling I experienced with Marvel is exactly how I feel about Destiny 2 right now. I'm super excited for the finale, and I really, really, truly hope Bungie absolutely nail it, knock it out of the park. God knows they didn't do that with Lightfall. I want to wrap up this part of my life I want to close the Destiny 2 chapter and just go see what else is out there. You know, maybe even with Bungie still through Marathon, who knows? But I hope Bungie continue to push Destiny in new directions, and hell, I could very well come back if things go really left field. That would be cringe after making this video, but I could. You never know. But for now, I'm looking forward to no more legendary engrams, no more Vex, no more Tower in my life, and that's absolutely okay. While this sentiment might feel and sound negative, especially considering the current trending topics in Destiny 2, it really, really, really isn't. I'm happy because I spent 10 years playing a super fun game, met some cool people. It was a fun time. And if there's something that drags me back down the line, great. If not, it was just time well spent. Let's see what the August showcase brings us. Let's enjoy the final shape, and let's allow ourselves to let things move on, with or without us.